Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now I'm just going to say that this video isn't going to have a lot of visual imagery or a lot of editing simply because I just want to get this out as quickly as possible. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard the recent Hello Counselor episode came out, and on there was a segment in which a father admitted to essentially molesting his young child called Junghyun, I think, who was only like 5 years old, and he says he basically just likes touching his son's private parts for like 5 to 10 minutes, and says at first he likes it, but then as time goes by he realizes he hates it. And his justification for this was that, oh, I'm his father, so it's okay, which is just stupid. And yeah, this has been getting a lot of like controversy because obviously people realize this is disgusting and this is essentially like very noncy of him. For those of you who don't live in the UK, nonce is basically like an informal term of referring to a pedophile. Yeah, so people were getting really outraged about this, saying that he deserves to be in jail, being put behind bars, and yeah, it's just, I was very shocked and disgusted when I found out about this. I was like, that is so gross, and that's, no, we don't like that, no. Yeah. There have obviously been a lot of people like condemning him for this, but there have also been some people trying to, well, I wouldn't say defend, but like play devil's advocate and say that the father genuinely had no idea what he was doing was wrong, and he would just really loved his kid and was just trying to show his kid the affection he needed. And I think this is a really dangerous mindset to have, because, I mean, if you put it in the context of like, say, somebody who's abusing their partner, but says it's because they love them, like, you can have that argument. And does that immediately make the abuse acceptable? No, it doesn't. It just makes him ignorant. And ignorance isn't really an excuse. So, yeah, he should definitely be educated in what he's doing is wrong. But we shouldn't be, like, giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying, oh, we should stop being so mean because, he didn't really know what he was doing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing is wrong, but it still doesn't mean that we can't hold them accountable for their actions. Because what he did is still child molestation. I definitely think. People have been like discussing whether this is like sexual harassment or sexual abuse. I think it's just molestation. He's just touching his kid's private parts without his consent. And his kid obviously is not comfortable doing it. Like, if you see the episode, like, he's clearly like shying away from the camera and he's like hitting his father when he's talking about it. So he has some idea of what's happening. And the thing that really like got people is that people were laughing about it, people were laughing about it. Yuju and Umji from G-Friend were both presenters, were guests on the show, and they were both looking pretty like uncomfortable and disgusted. Like, Umji at one point even tried to like get the dad to say, you do realize that children don't like that, right? That's what she said. And obviously her and Yuji probably said a lot more, but they just cut it out because, it's not really funny, is it? And I feel really bad for them because, they were just dragged into this, and now they're gonna look like they're as problematic as everyone else just because they weren't as outraged and stuff, when really it's probably just the producers doing evil editing, trying to make it so the show was more funny than it actually was. So yeah, The problem is with the show, they didn't really focus on the molestation, because it was basically what happened is the mother, she was talking about how her husband is just like a massive child, and they talked about the molestation at the beginning, but then they just kind of like shied away from that, and then talked about how he mistreats the wife, which of course is not great, but are we just going to pretend that he basically admitted on national television that he likes molesting his kid for 5 to 10 minutes? Like, are we just going to brush over that? We're just going to pretend like that didn't happen? And yeah, it's all very, like, extremely messy. And people have been starting up the hashtag #EndHelloCounselor. And I definitely think Hello Counselor needs a change. Because, I like the concept. I do. I'm not like a casual viewer. I don't like watch it like regularly. The only times I watch it is when like somebody I know or somebody I want to see is on the show. For example, if like a member of 17 is on, I'll probably watch it, but otherwise I will not watch it. And I also might watch it if the story is interesting to me. But yeah, I'm not a casual viewer of it. I like the concept of getting like different people to give like a talk show and getting someone to like talk about their problems and getting different views. But the way it's executed is totally inappropriate. Like, the fact that it's focused more on comedy and entertainment rather than actual like lifestyle and stuff and advice, I think that's the show's weakest point. Like, it's focused more on entertainment than it does actually helping people out. And obviously there are loads of moments where there's like serious like abuse stories, like psychological and physical abuse are very serious stories. Like you'll have like a kid being abused by their father or like their mother or whoever, and then the host will try. The thing with the thing I don't really agree like about the show is the fact that the hosts, they always try and see things from both sides of the spectrum. Like they always try and have like a grey morality, but sometimes the situations that come up on the show aren't grey. They're just black and white. Like there's a victim and there's a perpetrator. For example, if a child was getting abused by their parent, then the presenters would turn to the child and say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you listen to your parent? Maybe then they won't abuse you. Like they've turned it on the child and they don't actually focus on the fact that maybe the parents just shouldn't really be abusing the kid. Like that's not something that should happen. Yeah, and there are loads of points where they just give out really shitty advice. One thing I think definitely needs to happen. I think one of two things should happen. Either Hello Counselor gets cancelled for good, or it gets cancelled and then in the near future it gets rebooted as a proper talk lifestyle type show, and they can still have the comedians, they can still have the celebrities if they really, really want to, but along with that they should have like at least one or two like professionals in like psychology I mean, and psychiatrists. So like, you know, when they do the whole, is it an issue, is it not an issue, then the psychiatrist at the end will be like, oh, I agree with you, I definitely think this is an issue, or I don't agree with you, I think this is an issue, and you're not looking at this in the bigger picture. So I think that's one of two things should happen. I made a petition to bring to light the situation and to make sure that you know, this father does not walk free and he does get the proper repercussions of his actions, whatever it may be, and the child is protected. So I advise you to A, share this video around so people can see it, and B, just sign the petition and share it around so people can see it and we can actually get it going. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening, and hopefully the situation will get resolved.